Have you done this before? Pulled something out of the air fryer, like the chicken here, and realized, oh, I cooked it for too long. So you've either choked it down or you've thrown it out. Today, I'm going to show you how to turn this into something amazing and edible. And also, I'll explain how and why it works. But first, I'm Brenton. I cook with real ingredients and my imagination, and I'm going to show you how to do the same. So first, I'm going to show you how I use these ingredients to make this overcooked chicken into something incredible. And then I'll explain why it works. Today I'm creating a sauce with tomatoes, capsicum, chili, some spices, and I'm taking my inspiration from a dish from Tunisia called lub lubi. Lub lubi typically has this as a sauce, as well as chickpeas, lentils. It can come with some herbs, like for example parsley, and usually it uses tuna. However, we're trying to rescue this chicken today. So I'm going to start with roasting the capsicum. I'm just going to do it in the air fryer, but you can do it in the oven, so that we have roast capsicum in the sauce. All right, I'm going to put the capsicum in the air fryer for about 15 minutes on 200. Going to dry roast clove, cumin, coriander seeds on the pan, and then grind them up with the mortar and pestle. Fire. Voila! All right, so we'll put the coriander seeds on, and I'm going to turn that down to about half. I'll put 2 cloves on. So I always only put 2 as a maximum because they're pretty strong. 1, 2. Yep, and then I'll wait until these are pretty much done before the cumin seeds go on, because they cook much quicker. All right, once they start changing color and they're almost done, a bit of cumin, because that takes pretty quick to cook. All right, once that's done, we'll take that off the heat and we'll put it, once it's got to look brown like that, we'll take it off and put it in the mortar and pestle and we'll grind it up. So you can just use the powdered stuff, but this is just so much better in the sauce with the flavors. They come right out of it. Whoa, smell that aroma. It's fantastic. All right, let's start with some onion. So we've got onion here. We'll just chop it up nice and easy into little bits and we'll throw it on the pan. All right, wait until your pan's really hot and then a little bit of oil on the pan, just like so. And then we're going to put the onion on. Oh yeah, sizzling away. A little bit of salt and pepper, of course. Salt and pepper. All right, once it starts drying out a little bit and the oil starts soaking into the onion, I always add a little bit of water to keep it moist. All right, while that's doing its thing, we'll cut the tomatoes. Now let's cut up some tomato. So we'll start by cutting them into small parts. We have tomato all cut up. Let's throw it into the pan and get it ready to turn into a sauce. Once the onions are done, how do you know they're done? Well, when they taste fantastic. Yep, done. We're going to throw the tomato in with them and maybe a little bit of water so that they break down into a sauce. A little bit of water, like that. Medium heat, lid on. Should trap all the flavors and the juices and the liquid into the pan by putting the lid on, and it should sort of start breaking down into a sauce. All right, we'll cut up some chili and throw it in with the tomatoes as well so that it takes in the... Chop off their heads. These particular chilies, long red chilies, they're not very spicy. They're like cayenne pepper, but they do add quite a lot of flavor. We just want to make sure that we don't want to let too much of the heat out, so we've got to be quick. Oh! And then trap the flavors back in. All right, it's garlic time. Garlic's going to go in there and join the sauce.
Oh, he's a little guy.
Okay. 4 cloves, that should do it. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can't count. 5 cloves, that should do it, right? All right, the perfect time to add the garlic. Wait until the tomatoes, see, they're like breaking down now and they're becoming like a sauce. That's the perfect time. So we'll add them in. And also we'll add the spices now that it's turning into a sauce. You thought I forgot about the spices, didn't ya? No. Let's put them in. All right, come and have a look. Come and have a look. Have a look. So we've got, so it's turning into a sauce. You can see it breaking down. I like this thing because it sort of pushes through. We're going to cook it a little bit longer and just bring the liquids through like so, like that. All right, do you remember the capsicum? It's all air fried up now, and you can see how it's soft and wilted? That's what we're looking for. When it looks like it's brand new, then it's going to be hard and very difficult to blend. All right, let's throw them in. Don't put the stalk in, and we'll blend them. Look how perfect that came out. Now, I didn't add any water or anything. That's just literally roasted capsicum. And, by the way, tastes amazing. We're going to add it to the sauce. So check it out. So you could blend this and make like a liquid out of it. I'm keeping it chunky, what I want to do right now. But we're going to add the capsicum in and make a sauce out of it. This chick got too much sun. You can see it's really roasted. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to cut it up and we're going to add it to the sauce. Now the chicken's all cut. Let's throw it in. Mix them in. And then lid back on so that they try and take in all the flavour of the sauce. While the chicken's taking a bath, we're going to give a bath to chickpeas and lentils, which is an important part of the lub-lubby dish. You could roast the chickpeas, which would give obviously a pretty strong texture to them. They'd be a bit more dry and a little bit harsher. I'm actually going to just put them, well, obviously wash them, but then put them straight in so that they're softer and they can soak in some of the flavors as well. Chickpeas and lentils. All right, wash them up. So I'm washing them because they come from a can and they've got a lot of liquid from the can and I don't want them to take over the dish. All right, the chicken's been sitting in the sauce for about 20 minutes or so. So let's have a little try. Yeah, it's pretty good. You always want to try your food and make sure you're on the right track. And that is fantastic. It's got enough of the spices that I'm looking for. So I'll explain exactly what's happening here after we now put the chickpeas and the lentils in and get them to soak up some of those flavors as well. It's chickpea and lentil time. And in they go. They're pretty happy to be in there because they've been bathed. All right, let's mix them through. Like so. You can see they're starting to take some of those flavors already from the sauce. They're starting to take some of that liquid. All right, as they're mixed in, the lentils and the chickpeas now, I'm just going to put the lid on, trap some of those flavors in. Lentils and chickpeas, when they come in a can, are already cooked, so we don't need to really worry about that from a hygiene point of view, but we just want some of those flavors to go in, so we'll let them cook for about 5 to 10 minutes. So why does this work so well? Well, let's start with the problem. So the chicken, when it's overcooked, is dry, it's tough, it loses a lot of its flavor. So when we add it to the sauce, the liquid rehydrates the chicken, and the salt in the meal, so we only add a little bit of salt, but the salt actually helps the meat absorb some of that liquid and some of that flavor. All right, let's not just talk about it. Let's put my mouth where my mouth is. Yep, perfect. And the chickpeas and oh yeah, I can't get enough of it, it's good. The secret to improving your cooking is not about following every recipe to the T. It's about trial and error. And when you make a mistake, is understanding that mistake and then understanding what is the next step to improve that particular mistake in that situation. And what we're doing here is exactly that. We've overcooked the chicken and we've improved it. If you're liking the content on how to improve your cooking, like and subscribe. Help out the little channels. If you like this video, you're gonna love this one.